Hi everyone, my name is Safa and I'm a student in the MA Art and Science. I first graduated in math and then did a second BA in graphic design before joining CSM. Today, I will introduce you to one of the STEAM method by taking you through our last exercise, Sites of Practice. This project explores the nature of sight in relation to interdisciplinary art and science practice. Each student had to identify a site to observe, interrogate, and interact with through different modes of inquiry, each lasting for a week. Week number 1 was choosing a site. The first method I used was my own, which is a very analytical one coming from a math degree. I went back to the definition of a site, which is a place where something was, is, or will be built, and I chose human reason. Week number 2 was choosing a hat. We were asked to choose a hat to wear in order to investigate our site. This exercise enabled us to look at things from a different angle. My site was the most explored in philosophy, so I chose philosopher as a hat. Human reason was then my tool and my site. It was as exciting as doing math, as math is also a self-consistent structure. Week number 3 was sampling the field. We were asked to identify a specific area of the site, observe it, collect samples, then display them, and finally make a classification. The aim of this exercise was then to take a scientific approach. As my site was intangible, this experience was slightly different for me. As I can't observe my site, human reason, I observed the envelope of the site, meaning myself. All the thoughts that I had at this specific moment were then my samples. I displayed them on paper and classified them. Week number 4 was human factor. We were asked to explore the human factor in relation to our site. We were told to keep a daily diary based on our emotions and personal factors linked to the site. Meaning this time, we had to take an artistic approach. As we had 5 days to work on this, I decomposed the exercise on my 5 senses, investigating the site each day with only one of them. After taking notes of what every sense would bring to the project, I decided that the main aspect of my site was that we couldn't see it or hear it. So I covered the lens and microphone of my camera to get closer to the sensation of filming what is intangible. Surprisingly, there was still sound and moving image. After those 4 weeks of mixed investigation and methods, we had 1 week to think, reflect, and create an outcome. So looking back at my investigations, I wrote down the conclusion of every exercise. Week number 1, choosing a hat. I need to work with an analogy. Week number 2, sampling the field. The intangible site is emerging from a tangible site. Week number 3, human factor, notion of perfect and imperfect elements. I gathered all those keywords and tried to combine them into a piece of work. That's why I worked with reflection, light, and mirrors. The idea was to evoke reason with this analogy. Here is my final work. As a conclusion, I would say that the Sites of Practice exercise allowed incredible new connections. It was extremely enriching and enabled various insights. Each different mode of inquiry was like getting a new piece of the puzzle. Thank you very much for your attention.